Hi, Chuck Jenkins here with Jenkins Boat Works. Welcome back. In this episode, I try to start working on making the tiller. This is part one of 2 parts.
So I've taken the plan off the wall again because I've got to make some very careful measurements to try to determine what the tiller looks like. So here it is. So what I've done is I've taken my ruler that's got down to 1/16 on it, and I've measured from my straight line, this straight line here. I divided it in 5 because since it's about 40 inches, that made sense. So each inch on here, which is actually 8 inches in length, I've drawn a straight line up to the top of the tiller, like that, and like that, and then I've measured each one of those so that I hopefully can plot out a fair curve that's representative of this. So back here at the very back, well, the line is equal to the bottom of the tiller, and that's works out to about 1 3/8 thick here. It's just a little better than 1/8 of an inch, so I'm going to call it 1 3/8. Up here, it's about 3/8 up to here, so that's about 3 inches here. Here, it was about 7/16, so that's about 3.5 inches in actual distance. Here, 3/8, so back to 3 inches. Here, this one I measured and measured. I finally decided it's about 9/32. Now I'm splitting a 1/16 on my ruler, and I may be getting more exact on this than I need to, but I'm going to go with about 2¼ inches distance from the baseline up to the top of the tiller there. And then the little egg-shaped knob at the end of here is about 1.5 inches. So now what I'm doing is I'm plotting it out on a piece of plywood, and I've got marks here at just a little better than 8 inches. I want 8¼ between each of these stations, and then I'm making my marks in actual size for what that curve is going to look like, and that's going to represent the top curve of the tiller. So you can see I've already put a nail in here. My next mark is here. This one here, that would be at 3.5. This one comes back down to 3 inches. I'm using this as my baseline. About 2¼ on this one over here. And then where the front end of the tiller or the knob, they're about 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to drive nails in all these marks and then bend my metal ruler around that. And then I should be able to draw the top of what the tiller looks like. We'll cut it out and make a template. Okay, so the back end of the transom there, about 1 3/8, and then let's see, at 8 inches we should be 3 inches, so that's 3 inches right there. And then at 16, it's 3.5. Okay, and that marks good, 3.5. At 24, we're back to 3. Good, right on the top of that. And at 32, we said it was 2¼ that's the one that I've measured about 3 times. 2 1/4. I had it originally marked at 2, so I'm going to come up just a little bit. 2 1/4. I feel like I'm getting awfully exact here with getting into 30/2 of an inch, but each eighth of an inch represents an inch, so a little bit can make a difference. I want these straight up and down so the ruler's not fouled. And then this final one is down here. I don't have a board under that. And the ruler's not going to be long enough for this anyway because it's a 3-foot ruler. And that one should be 1.5 inches. Let's double check that. Pretty much right on. Now, I should just be able to take the ruler. Oh yeah, just bend that right around there. See, that one's sticking out. Okay, that's better. Work a little better if you got somebody to help you hold it, but I don't, so here I am. Good, 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 good. I'm going to come inside here. And finally come down to there, and that's pretty much straight on. Now, part of this is bowing out because the top of the knob's a little taller. So I think I'm just going to take that straight into that and just follow the same curve. And I'll draw my knob on there in a little bit. Voila! Now the only other thing I have to do is figure out what the bottom of it is, but all I have to do is measure it. And for the most part, it's about 1 inch. So that should work. So this is a piece of the oak tree. And you can see it's kind of weathered. It's been sitting outside for a long time. Goodness, 3 years. It just tells you how resilient and tough this wood is. It's white oak. Anyway, I've got my tiller pattern on there. And I think I screwed up. At least I started to screw up pretty bad because I was cutting out what I thought was going to be a board. You may be able to see those 2 kerfs in there. But then I figured out that even though it's half of a log, it doesn't, I don't think it's deep enough to get the curve out of it. I could be wrong. And we may try it both ways. But the other thing that I figured out is that at a point I had cut off this side. So on this side, that's not a live edge. So shouldn't be any sapwood there. And as long as it's not rotten, which I really don't think it is, especially not after sawing it, I stopped just in the nick of time, and I think I should be able to just go ahead and get it out of this edge here. If not, we may take that middle section and see if it would be deep enough to get the curve out of it that way. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I'm going to cut this thing up, maybe take it down to the garage and run it through the bandsaw if it'll fit, and we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, I got another log down below, or I may laminate up a couple of pieces of mahogany, but I'd really prefer to use some of this oak, and especially out of the tree. Yeah, jump the track. Blade jumped the track. Now I got to get it out of there. I'm so close, so I think I can hand saw it. We're going to try. I don't want to break that blade. I just put that blade in there. This saw's not big enough for this. I'm really pushing my luck. This wood's not rotten. We're really close, except it's binding up. Easy. Should have done this with a chainsaw, but I was afraid of getting sloppy. I'm close. Where's our clamp? Now it won't bind. I got through it with the circular saw, but it would only go in 2.5 inches, and I don't have a bigger circular saw. I thought about running it on the table saw, but I don't think it would have been tall enough, and I ran the risk of having winding up with a different cut. I was going to pull it out of here, just come through from the other side, but I couldn't get it away from it was binding up the blade. That's why I pulled it out. I'm still going to break it if I'm not careful. Good news is I haven't hurt myself yet. I don't want to activate my Aflac. I'm close. Come on. Really? It's still binding up. It's binding it up bad. That didn't help it. It made it worse. Ha 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 ha! I was through. Ha ha ha! It was the clamp that was holding. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, now don't break the blade. Yeah, look at that. White oak. White oak, baby. Oh my, I bet the living crap out of that blade. Oh dear. Okay, it's gonna be okay. Oh my God.